People have this idea that a bunch of people got together and tried to fool the world into this sort of mythical story of this man rising from the dead. Do you think they would have made the mistake of just including these blatant contradictions? In other words, I think if somebody was making it up, they probably would have taken more care.
That's an interesting perspective. I've never thought of it this way. So we can see the contradictions where things went wrong and we can trace it back to the original source then? And historians view the Bible as historical document? Really? Are you sure? Yeah, they do. They just don't believe it's divine, but it's a fact we have now. We have the Dead Sea Scrolls and carbon dating to verify.
Oh, okay. Carbon dating. Well, they got the carbon dating. So I guess they accept the carbon dating when it comes to the Jesus stuff, but just whenever it's anything other than that, just to throw that carbon dating right out the window. So this is some kiddo. I'm keep on finding these like kids, these apologist kids, and they're making their videos and stuff. And this kid, he's funny. He like talks to himself like like he sets up a like conversations with himself, but like one side is the atheist, the other is the Christian or whatever. Just but like it's just funny, and it's just funny because he tends to win all of his sometimes he does lose some debates against himself, which is kind of weird. That it's like you're in control. You didn't have to make the atheist smarter than you in your own conversation that you crafted. Anyway, we're gonna get into it. I am Brentley, and this is the Punk Apostate. Let's go. So this one's called When an Agnostic Finds Evidence for the Bible, featuring Alex O'Connor. That's right. That's the cosmic skeptic himself who just recently came out as a Christian, actually. Is it what? Oh, I'm sorry. Ruslan just lied about that. Ruslan said that he came out as a Christian. He was just, okay, thank you. My bad. Anyway.
Magical boy. Hey, what's up? Where's Matt today?
What?
Not evening magical boy.
Evening magical boy. What the
Hey, what's up? Where's Matt today? Not here.
What? He is clearly like a theater nerd. That just, it's got a hold of a computer. That's what this is. He's a Christian theater nerd, and this is and that's it. That's that he loves this. You can tell.
Hi, the Bible. How do I know it's not just some over exuberant bedtime story? Like, even if I wanted to, there's nothing behind.
Wait, why is the atheist or whatever like wearing the headpiece and all that? Like, what and the umbrella? Like, what is all this?
Find it scientifically. Why should I believe it? Why should I accept this as the truth? If you can show me it being true, I'll convert today. But you can't. You'll fail miserably. Okay, gotcha.
No, it's like atheists or skeptics are always out just with the bonnet on or a bandana or whatever with our umbrellas that were just like blown upside down or something. I don't know.
Why do you have an umbrella indoors?
Thank you. Yeah, it's like, oh, so he's gonna answer. Right,
Where is your evidence, you turd? It's for many reasons. To mention one is the archaeology.
What did he answer why he had the umbrella? Did I miss it? I feel like I missed it. Hold on.
Even if I want,
why do me have an umbrella? And he's like, no, it doesn't matter because the evidence or something. Anyway.
There's nothing behind it scientifically. Why should I believe it? Why should I accept this as the truth? If you can show me it being true,
And what accent is this? Is he putting on like an African accent, or is this supposed to be a Middle Eastern? Like, what is going on here?
Convert today, but you can't. You'll fail miserably. Okay, got you. Why do you have an umbrella indoors? Where is your evidence, you turd?
What? Wait, where is your evidence that he had an umbrella? Is that the point that he's trying to make? You can't even prove that I did or did not have an umbrella when I was holding an umbrella in front of the camera. Because, like, what is the evidence that I actually had an umbrella? Is that really what we're doing here?
It's for many reasons. To mention one is the archaeology. Friendly
He's not even going to address it.
writers and hostile writers mention
Wow.
that the Jesus Seminar, who are PhD level atheists and agnostics, who have no reason to support Christianity, who study Christ and the Bible, concluded that Jesus really.
If you like what I do, and you like videos like this, if you want to hit that like button, I'd appreciate it. You just smash that like button. Anyway, continuing on.
Lived in Judea 2,000 years ago and was known as atheists and agnostics who have no reason to support Christianity, who study Christ and the Bible, concluded that Jesus really lived in Judea 2,000 years ago and was known as a miracle worker, died on the cross under Pilate, and that his disciples really believed they had seen him risen from the dead. So the fact that there are
I don't know what he's talking about there. He's just saying that the atheists have concluded that Jesus did actually live and was crucified under Pilate. Like, it's getting very specific, and then had a group of people that believed that he did rise again from the dead. I feel like that's contested. Like, there's a whole block of these atheists and agnostics that would debate about whether or not Jesus actually existed or not, or whether or not it was just some kind of story that was completely made up. But I tend to take the perspective that I'm sure somebody was crucified or whatever, and there was probably several, because there was like a lot of cult leader, chosen one type cult leader things going on at that time. And so they probably just condensed a lot of these cult leaders that the Roman government took out or whatever, and maybe put them all together into one. I don't know. But as far as I can tell, it seems like it could easily just sort of be a bunch of legends all put together, and they just took all of them and made them all into one character. But I don't know.
Contradictions between manuscripts is often cited as proof against trusting scripture, right?
Not how proof works. It's like proof against trusting scripture. I'm like, now you're just getting even just the concept of proof is just not. He doesn't seem to be getting it. But how we doing? Is everybody feeling all right? Doing all right? It's Saturday. And I did not get much sleep. I'm going to be straight up honest here. I think I slept for maybe an hour last night. I was hanging out with Dr. Ben from the ACA and from The Line and all those shows. Dr. Ben is awesome. And well, there's a bunch of people there, actually. It was Dr. Ben. Got to hang out with Helen. And she's got a new show called a Free Thinker Fireside? Skeptic Fireside. I gotta check. I gotta double check. I'll put it in the show notes afterwards. But yeah, she's got a new show going on, and also hung out with who else was there? I'm sorry. Jeez, my brain froze because again I'm tired because I was up till like 3 a.m. Anyway, who won today? How we doing? Let's see. Hecklick won. Wow. Hey, I don't know if you've won in a minute. Have you? I know you have won before. It's just it might have been a second. But maybe I'm wrong. And Logan was second. What's up? Andrew Zilla was third. All right. Hell yeah. How we doing? And David, how you doing, David? Said happy Saturday. Now that's a day you can say that. Everybody loves Saturday. Most people, unless you work in the like the bar scene or at a restaurant or something. If you're in the restaurant business, you don't like Saturday. You're looking forward to Monday. You're wanting that slow evening shift. You know what I mean? But let's see here. Giselle said, and to think I almost went to bed early. Don't go to bed ever. Okay, you never know. All right, it could just pop up, and then you're gonna miss the whole thing. So you got to stay up all night, every day, waiting and wondering if it's ever going to go live, because I don't even know if I'm going to go live that day. So there's no way you can know unless you have some kind of magical powers, which maybe you do, right? Prove that you don't. That's what I'm saying, right? Logan said, how late is it for you? Yeah, but that is actually a good question. What, 10:55 p.m.? Wow. Holy shit, it's 5 here. That's crazy. That's like 6 hours. Wow, that's crazy. Holy shit. Logan said Alex actually did have a video of coming out Christian on April Fool's Day. Oh, maybe that's what it is. Maybe that's what it was. Because it's like, how did Ruslan get this so fucking wrong? But the evidence that Ruslan brought was not that. It wasn't an April Fool's video. It was like him making. He was clearly wasted, which was kind of entertaining to watch. Alex O'Connor, fucking. I think he drank a bit too much scotch or some shit. It was liquor drunk. Like, you know, you could tell the difference between like beer drunk and liquor drunk. He was liquor drunk. Okay, and he was sitting there trying to say that. What was it? He was talking to Destiny. Destiny said, "Fuck no, I don't believe in God," and and Alex was like, hold on, whoa, slow down. And he was like saying that like it's almost like this park where they were looking for a volcano, right? And they were trying to find the volcano, and then it turns out the entire park was a volcano. And he said that's just like God. And I have no idea what the connection was or the context, because I didn't go back and actually watch that entire conversation because I'm not a big fan of Destiny. And anyway, but that was what he played to say that he came out Christian, because he was like, maybe everything is just like God, and that's the God that I believe in. It was so confusing. And then I want to find at some point I'll find the video. Ruslan played a clip, or Ruslan went into the comment section of a live chat of Alex O'Connor, and he called him out for it and was like, why are you out there telling everybody? And so he went back and apologized. Kind of was like, I guess I shouldn't have said that he came out as Christian. And the person that names the videos is like, no, it's okay as long as you make it a question. Did Cosmic Skeptic come out as a Christian? And it was like, wow, dude, that's just very dishonest, but whatever. Anyway, I know that was a lot to say. Anything, I don't know. It's not, not very. Anyway, I'll find it though. We'll find that Ruslan video and see if we can take a look. I'll show you what I'm talking about.
Actually, it does the opposite. Oh, really now? How's
thank
that?
you.
The fact that there are so many manuscripts makes it easy to tell when someone changed one. Modern Bibles are transparent about any differences in the footnotes. You're very popular.
I remember, what's his name? Bart Ehrman was talking about this, saying that like there are so many mistakes, and you can like see when the mistakes happen. But you can not only that, but you can also see where they added entire stories, right? And I don't know as if he's like talking about that, because like you can see in the manuscripts where they added the woman at the well story. So I mean, if that's something that's possible, and then they just kept copying it after that, right? Like you can go back far enough and see, oh, this is where this story began, and then it just was being copied over and over again. And you not only that, but you got all the mistakes from the previous people, and they didn't have spell check, they didn't have anything, so they just they're just copying each other. And then like a lot of them will also change things for context, right? And it was very clear that a lot of the manuscripts that we used for the New Testament, they had like a particular agenda, right? And each person that wrote each of the Gospels made it kind of clear, if you read them closely, what their agenda was, right? And that's why if you look at Mark, he's not very powerful. He's doing pagan rituals, like spitting in the mud and putting it on their eyes. That's a pagan ritual, right? But by the chapter of John, that he's just super powerful or whatever, and doesn't even, I don't know. And that's right, because he does the same thing, the pagan ritual, but in Mark it doesn't work. He does it one time and he's just like, yeah, did it work? And the guy's like, no, not working. Everything looks a bunch of are trees walking around right now, because it looks like a bunch of walking trees. And Jesus like, all right, sorry, let me and then spit again. All right, how about now? I got the rest of my magic in that second load of spit to stick in your eyes. And he's like, now we're good. Now the trees have morphed now into human beings. That's right. And so that's what they are. They're human beings. It looked like walking trees. Not even kidding. All of this is in Mark. Go read the I can't remember what chapter, but go read Mark. It's not that long of a book, and you'll see what I'm talking about. He literally says it looks like trees are walking. But anyway, keep going.
Atheist friend Alex O'Connor even realized this. Take a look. I guess I'll have a look.
Bible contradicts itself.
I guess I'll have a look.
It's full of contradictions. And there are some seeming contradictions. What a lot of people neglect to.
What is going on with this? Like the hands moving, but the screen is staying the same. What has happened? It's like that's what I feel like he must have taken some LSD or something, because this is exactly what your phone does when you take LSD, and then when you try to touch the screen, your finger just phases right through that sucker, and then you like look at the other side to see if like did your finger actually phase through the phone, and sure enough, it phased right through the phone. You have like magical powers whenever you take that stuff, right? But of course everybody else just looks at you and you're just touching your phone. But to you have magical phasing powers for a good, I don't know, 10 seconds before you realize it's just your brain not working. Anyway,
to consider is that when we're talking about a text as a historical document, contradictions shouldn't make us think that it's less accurate, but more accurate. If historical sources contradict each other, that's evidence of their accuracy rather than evidence of the opposite. If this is a mythical story that somebody's making up, you would expect the details to concur. That is, if you're questioning two suspects in some kind of murder trial or something, and their stories match up perfectly, it arouses suspicion. Someone's coming up with a story here and trying to perfect it. Now, people have this idea that a bunch of people got together and tried to fool the world into this sort of mythical story of this man rising from the dead. Do you think they would have made the mistake of just including these blatant contradictions? In other words, I think if somebody was making it up, they probably would have taken more care.
That's an interesting perspective.
Okay, but if none of the details are consistent because they've been changed so many times or whatever, because nobody actually knows what they are, like that gives that provides you more reason to trust that it's true. I don't know. To me, it just seems strange. I feel like that just sounds. I don't know. It almost feels like they're trying to like overthink it in a way, or at least like throw a bone or something to the apologists. But I don't know. To me, I don't see that as a very good argument. I mean, but again, like I don't know how historical documents are collected. Like how often are details conflicting in historical documents, like from that time, like that were actually taken into account of what had happened in history. I don't know. So I'd have to like compare the Bible to that kind of stuff. But anyway,
I've never thought of it this way. So we can see the contradictions where things went wrong, and we can trace it back to the original source then? And historians view the Bible as historical document? Really? Are you sure? Yeah, they do. They just don't believe it's divine, but it's a fact we have now. We have the Dead Sea Scrolls and...
Yeah, David said, Alex's veneer of politeness and want for high-profile guests will compel him to ultimately make the heel turn. I fear. I know. I'm kind of. It's funny that you said that, because I've been kind of just keeping an eye on him. You know what I mean? Because he does seem like I haven't really honestly paid attention to any of his political views or anything like that. Just know him from seeing him all over the place as far as like the popular skeptic that he is, right? But yeah, I'm a little bit worried that if he does, he leans into this type of shit too much, like desiring a large, because he's huge. He's like one of the biggest skeptic channels there are, just at all, just out there. It's like him and RN Raw. I actually think he's bigger. I think he's actually got more than RL and Telltale. I don't know. Telltale's got a lot too. I'm not really keeping track exactly of like who's got how many, but he's huge, and that's why he's able to get these like high profile guests and everything. But yeah, I am kind of worried. Hopefully, he doesn't fall into like the IDW type of thing,
Carbon dating to verify. I told you this. Over 5,000 manuscripts in the original Greek and...
Well, let me see. Logan said, doesn't make him God. No, exactly. Even if this were, if all of this were like accurate, was what if like as far as like the manuscripts go, as far as like recording the things that Jesus said or whatever, and then him being executed and all that type of stuff, it doesn't mean that he's actually God at all. They could be like recording history almost perfectly, right? Other than, of course, like the miracles actually being true, real magical miracles, and of course him coming back to life. But other than those things, they could record it all perfectly, and it would not be evidence that Jesus is God at all. Right? Just evidence that, hey, something happened and a bunch of people mistook that thing that happened for some magical thing and then claimed that he's God, because that's the way people thought back then. You know, they weren't the best thinkers back then. You know what I mean? But yeah, absolutely. Gisela said, I don't get why people will call themselves cultural Christians. I celebrate Christmas because of my family. They even let me wait home. Wait, they even let me wait home while they're in church. I'm still not any variety of Christian, I think is what you're saying. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I think a lot like so far what I've seen from that like whole thing of saying that you're a cultural Christian is like it just seemed like it was just a lot Islamophobia. You know what I mean? Like they're just like, our religion's better than theirs. Okay. So in that regard, I would rather the culture majority be the Christian religion and not majority be the religion I don't like. I don't like extra or something. Yeah, I think is extra bad or whatever. And it's just like, okay, man, like fucking congratulations. You don't like the religion that happens to be mostly like made up of brown people, but like, okay, great. So you're saying our religion is better, whatever. I don't know. Fucking that seems to be the context anyway in which I've seen that type of stuff. But let me see here. What else we got? Logan said, Saturday in the park. I think it was the 4th of July. I think it was the 4th of July. I actually do know that song. That's all right. Hey, you found one. You found one that I actually know. That's pretty good.
20,000 in other languages. None of those differences found between manuscripts change anything about any core doctrines of Christianity. They are mainly handwriting error on a letter or a different way to word something.
And that's another thing that Bart Ehrman was saying. He's like, nobody bases their doctrinal beliefs off of the early manuscripts anyway. Like they base their doctrinal beliefs off of faith, faith that these claims are true irrespective of what the evidence is, right? Like they have faith that is true. And so any kind of changes in the manuscripts or whatever, it's not going to like alter their doctrines or anything. They're not going to change what they think about that. And people have taken that quote of him saying that and taken it out of context and tried to make it sound like I don't know, trying to make it sound like Bart Ehrman was saying it actually is like there is good reason to believe that it's true or something based on the manuscripts and everything. But that's not really what he was saying. It was Frank Turek. Frank Turek was like taking him out of context and stuff. There's a really good Prophet Azad video about that. And he actually brings Bart Ehrman. What was it, Prophet Azad? No. I'm sorry. It was Apologia. I don't know why I mix them up sometimes. It was Apologia video. And he brought Bart Ehrman on to respond to the claims of Frank Turek about Bart Ehrman. So it was one of those. But anyway, so I wonder if that's what this kiddo's like responding to, or if that's what he's thinking about when he's saying this stuff.
That means the exact same thing. There is a 99.5% accuracy between the manuscripts, according to the scholars. There is also all the undersigned coincidence between not only the 4 Gospels, but the rest of the New and Old Testament too. Matthew chapter 2.
Wait, sorry. I feel like I missed something.
Mainly handwriting error on a letter or a different way to word something.
No, there was that too, but there's also like contextual stuff that was changed as well.
That means the exact same thing. There is a 99.5% accuracy between the manuscripts, according to the scholars. There is also all the undersigned coincidence.
I don't know what that means. Like they say there's more. How did it was like Bart Ehrman said has this line, and it's not his line. It's the guy that Metzger or something. Anyway, his like mentor, who was a Christian, by the way, would always say that there are more inconsistencies between the manuscripts than there are words in the New Testament. So there are more inconsistencies than there are words. Yeah, a lot of those like are like what he's talking about, where you're just like using a different word to mean something else or whatever, just like small little mistakes and stuff. But some of it is literally like contextually like changing. They want to communicate something different through the story, and so they do that by altering some of the details and stuff. But yeah, a lot of changes, a lot of changes. So I wouldn't say that it's 95%, whatever he said, accurate or whatever.
Between not only the four Gospels, but the rest of the New and Old Testament too. Matthew chapter 2, verse 22 talks about Joseph not wanting to return to Judea after fleeing to Egypt because of Archelaus was ruling. That's all the info on that the Bible gives. Josephus, the Jewish historian, tells us about the things Archelaus did and how evil he was. Put these two pieces of evidence together, we get the full picture. This sort of thing happens through the text with the seemingly useless details
What? Who
Archelaus did.
Who was Archelaus? What the fuck? I'm sorry. I was like,
only the four Gospels, but the rest of the New and Old Testament too. Matthew chapter 2, verse 22 talks about Joseph not wanting to return to Judea after fleeing to Egypt because of Archelaus was ruling. That's all the info on that the Bible gives. Josephus, the Jewish historian, tells us about the things Archelaus did and how evil he was. Put these two pieces of evidence.
was that King Herod or whatever? Is that what he's talking about? Is this something like his name is Archelaus? I don't know what he's talking about here. But Josephus was like well after the fact too. Like he wasn't born until after Jesus had likely died. Like it was either right around the time of his death, or well after that. So like he wasn't even born yet. So I don't know. He's just taking these things after the fact too. So by not as much, but still, it's enough to be like, but how would he? Anyway.
Evidence together, we get the full picture. This sort of thing happens through the text with the seemingly
a maverick being Frank. Hey, I like that. It's kind of a cool name. Said at David, no, he is okay, so you're responding to David about Alex O'Connor, right? He said, no, David, he's being fairer. I think it's more fair, right? Is the way to say that. But I don't know. We're gonna have to check with Aunt Gier. Aunt Gier, was that? Is it more fair or fairer? I feel like it's more fair, but no, because he is fairer in his evaluation than your typical atheist. For example, his views on the Kalam. What are his views on the Kalam? Does that I don't know, but what his view like? I thought that the Kalam that he agrees, if I'm not mistaken, and it's been a minute since I've heard him say anything about the Kalam, but I thought that he was saying that the Kalam, like that he agrees with the Kalam because it doesn't conclude a God; it just concludes a cause. Am I incorrect on that? But thank you. Yeah, so I knew it. I'm sorry. No, this is and it's it's okay. Don't feel bad. All right, these are teachable moments. Okay, because we all gotta work on our grammar. I think that's one of the most important things that we can do in this day and age is work on our understanding of the English language, since we use it so often to communicate. So, but hey, Deep State, what's up? How we doing? Hey, how's it going? Good. He said Alex constantly mispronounces Kamala's name too. It annoys me. Yeah, I can imagine. I don't know. I don't think, again, like I don't really watch too much of his stuff specifically. Definitely nothing about politics. I feel like I don't know if I've ever really looked at anything he said about politics and shit. But
useless details matching up perfectly with extra biblical sources, leading to the credibility of the text. Well, I would say that my friend multimillionaire commented, every historical account we have to support the historicity of Jesus or his disciples are second and third hand information that was recorded decades after the alleged events happened.
Yeah, 60 to 90 years after the fact. Yeah, absolutely.
That's how it is with Josephus and Tacitus. Eusebius is another one Christians like to cite, but this guy admitted that he's okay with lying for the sake of Christianity. So none of his accounts can be taken seriously either. The Gospels were still written by anonymous authors, so you would have to have.
What is this accent that it's like he keeps forgetting that he's like, oh yeah, I'm doing the accent too, and these Gospels. That's I think he's like trying to be like some armchair skeptic, but like one that also wears a bandana over his head for some reason. I don't know what he did with his broken umbrella that he had a minute ago, because I feel like that sold the whole skeptic thing better, because that's what we do. We have umbrellas and then demand that you prove that we had an umbrella
have faith that the accounts are truthful, which cannot at all be confirmed. That's simply not true. Maybe you didn't know, but Luke in the Bible is considered a real historian. He is recognized by the greater academic community, bro.
No, he's not. Like, we don't even know. Like, that's so funny. He's like, Luke is like an actual historian, bro. Okay. We don't even have evidence that, like, we don't even know who wrote the book of Luke. Yeah, we know that Luke, supposedly, according to the mythology, is this particular person or whatever. But we don't even have, we don't know that that book was actually written by anybody. We don't know who it was written by at all. And Luke just seems to, it's like one of those just like characters that were like within the framework of the mythology. So no, he's just wrong about this. Yeah, he's claimed to be like a doctor and a bunch of shit like that, but we don't have any evidence of him existing as far as I understand. I could be mistaken about that. Maybe he did, but we don't have any evidence that connects the person that is Luke to the gospel that is supposedly written by Luke. I know we don't have that. I need to get like John Gleason back over here and ask him some questions about this type of stuff, because he's really, he's actually really good at this sort of thing.
Bro, see? Let me see. What the f? And even atheist historians agree the Bible is indeed part of history.
Where did he just like went to Google and like put in stuff about, like, did he put in scholarship? Because it's real easy. See, this is the problem when you're looking up stuff on Google. You have to put in like academic scholarship sources and stuff, because there's so much bullshit sources on this sort of thing that like it's real easy to get false information, especially if you're just asking Google or whatever. It'll just come out with like whatever the whatever the religious claims are of that particular question. You know what I mean? Because like if it's a biblical question, they're assuming that you're a Christian that's asking for this, and so they're going to give you the Christian biased answer. But if you actually put in like scholarly articles about it, it always falls apart, because these are the type of people, like, as I'm pretty sure you can like ask Google if there were any eyewitnesses of Jesus, and they'll repeat the 500 witnesses thing. And that's not true at all. That's just a claim in the Bible that there were 500 witnesses, but we don't have any of the accounts of the 500 witnesses.
Use it to reference archaeology. That all may be true, but it still doesn't prove your Sky Daddy God raised from the dead. Nikki, under your
This guy is like, I love how he wins the arguments with himself, dude. It's just so funny the way he becomes, okay, maybe that's true, since I have to agree with, that I'm losing this debate. And then now I'm moving moving on to the next argument.
Comments. Had a marvelous point. Do the disciples see undeniable proof? Is there undeniable evidence to support that? One, for example, could have hallucinated or mistaken someone for a risen Jesus, and the others could have been convinced or urged to see similar things happen. To me,
it doesn't fucking matter. Look, what is the likelihood of like any of this evidence or whatever the evidence people claim, like, what is the likelihood of it actually being true? What is more likely? Because like if we play that game, they say, oh, let's play the game of what's more likely, right? And we know that people have been mistaken about things throughout history. We've seen this with fucking Elvis, right? People believe that they've seen Elvis after he died. And literally, and they truly believe that. That's been more recent. They have photographic evidence, and of course they're all wrong, they're all mistaken. So what's more likely? Is it more likely that someone was mistaken, which about that, which has been confirmed throughout history a lot, but or was it that he was actually God, which has never been confirmed throughout history ever? So, just based on what we know to be the case, the majority of the time, we don't have good reason to think that he was actually God. It's just, even if, let me just take it even further. Even if we could prove that he did actually raise from the dead, we still don't, still doesn't prove that he is actually God. Even if he did have those magical powers, that doesn't prove that he's God. It just proves that he had some kind of magical power, right? So it's like, maybe there was a witch around, maybe his mom was a witch. Right. And she had magical powers to bring him back to life. Like, we don't know, right? It could be anything. So it's just funny when you start dealing in magic and using it as like an explanation for things. It's the needle can go anywhere for that. You know what I mean?
more open to interpret things as being Jesus. And people might have misheard someone at some point, or the story changed over time as people told it to each other. And
what is that fucking voice? What is he doing? I say, my dear boy, I say, it could be. I say, I can't do it. I was gonna try to do the Stewie, from we need to get Jimmy Snow over here. He can do it. I think that's what he's trying to do. He's trying to do a Stewie impression.
May have forgotten some minor details and may have interpreted the stories as being something they're not because of their beliefs. So the historical agreement is that it is impossible for so many people to have so many livid hallucinations to explain the conviction of the disciples and early Christians. It's a funny and goofy hypothesis, but not even intellectually honest atheists take it into account. The apostles' willingness to be killed, not for saying they believe Jesus had risen, but they
It's the die for a lie thing. Okay, yeah. Jesus.
knew he had risen because the proof was they saw him. If the tomb wasn't empty, they would have paraded the body around to stomp out any idea of Jesus being resurrected. But
God, it's like we've literally seen people in cults die for lies, dude. And you're like, oh, well, they wouldn't do it if they knew that it was a lie. But we've seen people get brainwashed by other people, and those people, fully convinced, have died for that lie. So I don't this means nothing, like at all. Like it's just so silly that they think like we should be convinced by, well, what would you die for a lie if you knew that it was a lie? And it's like, oh, okay, well then that means that it had to be true. And all of they literally thought that this carpenter came back to life after 3 days or whatever. And it actually did happen because otherwise they wouldn't die. And I don't even know as if it's true that they wouldn't have died for it being a lie. It just maybe just in the service of like wanting their cult to continue afterwards, they might just be like, I'm willing to make that sacrifice. How do we know? We don't, because we're basing these conclusions off of like what someone would have said or not, and we don't know what that is. You know what I mean? Like it's absurd to come to conclusions based off of arguments like this. I just think it's silly. Greg, what's up, dude? Greg said Alex O'Connor is only evangelical atheist I have ever seen that will actually address the real Christian doctrine as it is, instead of throwing up straw men and fallacious narratives. He's a contender. I don't know. Okay, I don't know exactly what you're talking about, because like there isn't an actual doctrine, dude. Like, what are you talking about? What is the actual doctrine? There's like 45,000 different denominations, and it's not like anybody really agrees on what their doctrines are. So I don't know what you mean by that. It just seems odd to say that he's the only one that actually addresses true doctrine when none of the doctrines are true. You mean he just meets people where they're at? I think it is a good idea to go find out what people believe and then respond to what they actually believe. And like what they would call like a steel man or whatever. Like I do think that is a good idea, but I think I've seen plenty of people do that. I don't think that he's the only one. But okay.
Christianity spread because the event that historically happened, not just because a book told you so. There was no body in the tomb. If someone stole the body, why were nearly all the apostles willing to be killed for saying they seen Jesus risen? They were thousands of miles away from one another before phones and the internet, and were being threatened.
Oh, good. Yeah, if I was like, what if they called him though? What if they posted on Facebook? Oh, no, you're right. It was before the internet. Shit. Yeah. Never mind. I'm sorry. I'm glad you included that, because that's where my mind was going to go.
Tortured and murdered for the claim. Not one broke and said it was a lie to save themselves. Alex O'Connor even spoke on this as well. Look at this. Let me see.
How do we explain the fact that this man gets crucified by the Romans, and then people claim to see him after he died, and were willing to be put to death for that belief?
Good heavens.
How? Okay, maybe
Good heavens, me. This kid. That's so funny.
he didn't die. Unlikely. As they say, the Romans knew how to kill people. And supposedly, they check. Okay, so likelihood is that he was actually crucified. And then a few days later, people are claiming to see him. Maybe they're lying, but then you don't tend to go to death for something you know to be a lie.
No, but they could easily be convinced that it is true through fallacious reasoning because they weren't the best at reasoning back then, man. Like, this is such a weird argument.
You're willing to be put to death for things that you think are true that are false, but very rarely are people willing to die for beliefs that they don't actually believe themselves.
But here's the thing too, it's like like what I was saying earlier, we've seen people get brainwashed. We've seen people like starting out going like thinking critically about something and going, I don't think this is actually true. And then through repetition and stuff like that, like repetition and emotional manipulation and as well as other like tactics that cult leaders use, they brainwash them into self-doubt and doubting like their own senses and stuff. We've literally seen this happen. So they could know that it's like a lie at first or think that they know and then be gaslit from there until they are convinced that it is actually true and then die for it. Like, but we don't know why or why not someone did or did not die for the gospel of Jesus or whatever. Like, it's just I don't know. I like what like deciding that somebody should have done something to me sounds a lot like when somebody, is questioning the like 9/11 or whatever. And they're like, buildings shouldn't fall like that. Like, that's not how buildings typically fall. That was demolition. Okay. I know how like airplanes hit buildings all the time and what it's supposed to look like when an airplane hits a building, and that's not what it is. I hit buildings with airplanes all the time. Okay, I see what it looks like all the time, and I know that it should have done this other thing and it didn't. That's what it sounds like to me. Like, that this person should have done X, Y, or Z, and there's so much assumptions going on here. It's absurd.
That doesn't really happen. So they probably weren't lying. As maybe they were mistaken, fooled, or maybe they were.
So, what is this emotionally manipulative music? I know it is. It is. It's very light. It's very light and magical. Maybe I guess it's meant to make you feel like maybe even the agnostic atheist says that he's right about Jesus being real and came back to life or something. So yeah, it's kind of fun. Alabama Hellbilly says, "Why are so many Muslims willing to die for Muhammad? Why were those people at Heaven's Gate willing to die if there was no spaceship hiding behind the hiding behind the comet?" Exactly. That's exactly my point. Is like we've seen people die for lies all the time. Lies that they were convinced of were true, maybe, or maybe they didn't care. Maybe they're just trying to fit in, and it would be dishonorable to like go back on what they knew it was a lie at this point because they've gone too far with it. You know what I mean? Like, maybe they found it to be more noble to die for that lie than to be seen as a hypocrite or somebody that changed their mind, a flipper, a flip flopper, like those Democrats with their flipping and flip. Anyway, but yeah, so I don't find that argument very convincing at all. But let's see, Greg said, the church has established its official dogma and doctrine at length in detail, ad nauseum. It's ad nauseum. But like, the earliest documented record of it would be in the Apostles' Creed. Which doctrine are you talking about? That's what I'm asking. You saying like the Catholic Church? Because that would be, I think, some of the earliest established doctrine is the Catholic Church. I don't think this kid's Catholic though, and even the Catholic Church and doctrine has like its own like subcategories of doctrines and all that type of stuff. So again, I'm not really sure exactly what you're saying, other than to just say that he finds out what they believe, right? That the individual that he is debating with, and gets that, and then recites back to them what they believe, and then addresses it from there, which I do think is a good method for debate. But I don't think he's addressing any real doctrine. I think that he is just trying to steel man whatever doctrine the person that he's engaging with believes. You know what I mean? But anyway, good heavens. Yeah, I'm pretty good. How's it going, man? So, well, you're doing good because you even got good in your name, man. It's like Deep State said, the making fun of Russian troll stream is tomorrow. Fuck yeah, dude. All right, we're gonna check it out. We're gonna check that one out. It'll be fun. Looking forward to that. Where are we at here? Okay.
Hallucinating in groups.
So we have the writing
We-
of the disciples of
We
the
kind of have had like groups hallucinating too, like right with that whole like Mary doing the doing that miracle or whatever, where she was supposed to like come into the sky and do something with the sky or whatever. And there was like 10,000, was it 10,000? I don't know. Several thousand people were just like staring at the sky, waiting for a magic to happen. And, they stared at the sun until the sun, started to bounce around and change colors and do all this type of stuff that happens, when you stare at the fucking sun too long. Like that's and of course it literally got recorded as a miracle because so many people reported seeing it. And I'm pretty sure people also reported later that they had problem being able to see anything because they fucked up their eyes by staring at the goddamn sun for hours on it. you know but anyway, mouth open, one eye half closed. I feel like you're describing a sex act of some sort. Is that what you're doing? You're just mouth open because you don't want to get that stuff in your eye, right? You ever gotten that stuff in your eye? It burns, right? And if you want to get somebody to come in your eye, go to adamandeve.com. Enter code word Brentley at checkout. Dude, you're right in front. You're right in front of like the words that I'm trying to say here when I'm saying thank you. Go to adamandeve.com, enter code word Brentley at checkout to get 50% off almost any one item, 6 free movies, 3 free gifts, and free shipping on the whole order. Go to adamandeve.com, enter that code word Brentley. That's Brently at checkout and get your butt some dildos. I updated it. I updated my catchphrase there. It's usually get your butt some stuff, but I said get your butt some dildos because the dildos go in your anyway. Go to adamandeve.com, enter code word Brentley at checkout, and get your exclusive offer. Get your butt some stuff. I mean, dildo. Well, it's too late now. I already. You know what? Just go to adamandeve.com, buy shit or something, put in Brentley and check out. Anyway.
apostles and the disciples of those disciples. And they not only quote much of the New Testament, but all the core idea of Christianity are present. Jesus being God, the Son of God, dying for sins, burial,
Jesus being God, and he said the Son of God. That was the Council of Nicaea, I believe, and it was a vote, and it was not it was a close vote. It was, you would think that if God wanted everybody to believe that Jesus was in fact actually God, that it would have won by a landslide of the fucking vote that apparently decides how history works. Like historical facts are based on votes. But yeah, no, it's a very close vote, and it ended up like just a photo finish saying that, oh no, Jesus is actually a God, or is actually the God, according to the council.
Resurrection and ascension to heaven. It's because of the evidence that I believe in Jesus, on top of the spiritual encounters I had and still have today. So the Bible is historical. Yeah.
It's weird when they do, like, because I swear to God, it's the same type of shit that I used to say, man. I used to be like, oh no, I'm convinced because of this other stuff over here or whatever, right? Because you don't want to seem like, oh no, I'm convinced of this because it was taught to me by my parents and I trust my parents and I love them and that's why I believe it. I believe. Like, you don't want to just say that, right? Because it makes it sound like you're like what you're saying is incorrect or whatever, and because you're not believing things for good reasons. So if you're believing things because of that, whatever. So they have to like do this other thing where they go over and start reciting shit from apologists and looking for all the evidence that they think confirms what they'd already like to believe anyway, and then just start listing that shit out to you. And then go, oh no, but I just believe because of the evidence. No, it's not, dude. You started with your conclusion way ahead of time and then went and collected arguments once you started being challenged on what you were taught to believe from birth or whatever. But I don't know. I highly doubt it. Is it possible that he actually believes because of the evidence? It's maybe, but I highly doubt it. I've never met anybody that didn't already have their Christian belief ahead of time before they went and collected these arguments.
Yes, bro. So now when you go and read the Bible, read the Gospels for yourself. Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John as a historical.
Oh, it was a spaceship behind the car seat, and so they were right. They were right. That cult was actually correct about all of it. Okay, so and we got evidence right here. Spaceship behind the comet. they had to stop for gas. So that was it. That was the only reason why it didn't happen. Hey, Pandora's Pinata, what's going on? It's behind the comment. And the comet gas. What? Spaceship behind the comet and the comet gas. Do a slingshot maneuver around Jupiter. Oh yeah, I see those a lot in movies. You know, I don't know. Is that actually a thing? Is that do we really use that tech? You know, is that type of I don't even know, like, what you would call that. Do we use those kinds of physics when we're actually flying actual spaceships, or is that just a movie thing? Is it? I feel like it could be real, but I don't know. Ken said, sex act or waiting for magic to happen. That's for each of us to decide. I see. Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. I was like, what could he possibly be referring to about this? Like, I'm so confused.
Document, and you'll see the credibility full circle. But I'm about to go hop on Street Fighter. But wait, you need to go think about
No, yeah. He said, you want to come play Street Fighter?
everything we just talked about for now.
Okay. God Comedy. At God Comedy or E. I don't know. Yeah, that kid's funny. I just came across his video the other day, and Jesus, pastor finds Christmas trees in the Bible. Wow. Okay. Red pen logic. That guy is really funny too. Let me see here. I had another one that I wanted to cover. It was Taco. Yeah, check this one out. Taco Talks explains love the sinner, hate the sin. And it gets dark. I I went through it and was like, oh my God, okay. He's just saying some of the stuff. So it's kind of funny. I don't know what happened with his audio. It seems like his later ones are like the audio's messed up, or it's just like really quiet. So here we'll start her over.
The sin, love the sinner, hate the sin, love the sinner, hate the sin. You've heard that time and time again.
I have.
Today we're going to actually discuss what it means. See, those are rules for us, not for God. The Bible very clearly explains that God does in fact hate the sinner. You see that in Psalm chapter 5, Psalm chapter 11, where it literally says that God hates the evildoer, that he detests the wicked. Going into Leviticus 20, when it says, do not do any of these things that the people in the nation ahead of you did, because I hated them for doing those deeds. The Bible says in Romans chapter 9, Jacob I loved, but Esau I hated. See, a lot of people have this really weird, bad misconception where they don't understand the God of the Bible, and they say like, oh, God is all love. God is love. God is not all love. See,
not all.
Would apply that is the
sometimes he's hate. Sometimes, and there's a thin line. There's a thin line between love and hate. And I mean, that's, well, it can just be either, I guess. It's sometimes, I don't know. But yeah, they say that like it's not okay for humans to hate, but it's okay for God to hate because God's allowed to. He's like, yeah, I'm allowed to do whatever. I'm fucking God, bro. I can do whatever I want. If I want to genocide, I can fucking genocide. Okay. I'm fucking God, bro. It's good or bad, whether or not I do it. Okay. That's what it is. If I decide that it's good to do something, it's good to do something. Okay. Even if it's harmful as fuck, because I'm God. And that's how everything works, apparently.
Exclusive attribute. But God is also just, wrathful, vengeful, jealous, righteous, good. And in order for him...
Was your anus involved? Oh man. And if you want your anus involved in dildos or something, go to adamandeve.com and enter the Greg. Like we just went over this with the last bit. Like, why would you leave your thank you? Just go to adamandeve.com and code word Brentley at checkout to get 50% off almost any one item, 6 free movies, 3 free gifts, and free ship to get the whole order. Go to adamandeve.com and enter code word Brentley. I know it's too early for another ad break, so we're just gonna pop that down. Okay, I said we're just gonna pop that to Kevin with the Kevin. Can you bring down the? God, you're usually good about this sort of thing. It's like anyway.
Him to be good, he has to be just. In order for him to be just, he has to be capable.
He has to be capable of genocide sometimes. Okay, because that's what being just is. It's just deciding what is good or bad, and it has nothing to do with any kind of consistency or anything like that. It's just whatever God thinks at the time, and that's what makes him just.
Of wrath. In order for him to be capable of wrath, he needs to hate that which is abhorrent to him. See,
He needs to hate that. I love the way this gets on. He has to hate that which is abhorrent to him. Now, if you
your sin doesn't just get thrown into hell. You get thrown into hell for the sin that you've committed. The wages of sin.
Yeah, why couldn't he have just like ripped the sin off of you? Just like pulled it and put it into like a mirror dimension or something, just stick that sucker in a mirror dimension and then just fling it out into the universe with all the sins just stuck inside this like mirror, and then maybe at some point the mirror will break or something and then they get out and then you got to have a big battle that's just knocking buildings over and stuff at the end battle. It's going to be, it's great. Anyway, but like, why couldn't he have done that?
Is death. By committing sins, you have earned death. You earned it.
And by committing sins, he means like, looking at a woman and being like, I am lusting right now. And that's it. That's it. Now you deserve to be tortured for all eternity for doing that thinking, for doing that lusty thinking, right? And if you want to do some lusty thinking, go to Adam and Eve. I'm just kidding. Okay, I'm sorry. Too many. I'm getting excited. That's the problem. It's what it is.
By sinning, we sin against a holy God, and God must uphold justice, and therefore he must punish the wicked.
What is the justice? Like, based on what? Like, based on what? Like, justice system, like based on what system of morality that's consistent, right? Like if he's God and it doesn't change yesterday, today, and forever, how come you have like it's okay to unalive your own child by having the neighborhood throw rocks at them because maybe because they talked back or got drunk? Why? What about that? That's not okay anymore. I think even he would agree that we shouldn't be unaliving our children through rock throwing, even if they talk back or get drunk. Just saying, right? Not to mention like sanctioned slavery. There's so many different like disgusting things in the Bible, and it's like so obviously a different God in the Old Testament than the God in the New Testament, but they have to be like, oh, but it's all the same God, and it's all this just because God is like has like one moral standard that never changes. And that's why he has to hate people sometimes, because he has to hate sinners or whatever. I don't know. Like, it's just absurd the way that they go about this.
Does God take pleasure in?
Is it too quiet? If it's too quiet, let me know, because I'm not trying to like blast your ears out with my voice and you can barely hear his. So let me know if it's just too stark of a difference. We'll find something else.
Punishing the wicked. No, the Bible makes that very clear. But God has to do it. The Bible says that even while we were in enmity towards Christ, he died for us. That means that even while we were the enemies of God, Christ died for us.
I feel like this is a joke I should be getting, but I feel like I'm not smart enough. I'm not smart enough to get these types of jokes. I'm going to have to call up Cosmic Kyle, at Cosmic Kyle. If you don't know who he is, he's awesome. Does a lot of great stuff. And on TikTok too, Cosmic Kyle. Check it out. But Spaceship Behind the Comment said, there is a thin line between love and hate. And in the case of Jupiter, it's the asteroid belt. And I like I say, I feel like that's probably funny and deep. And, and I wish I could get it. I'm going to have to call it Cosmic Kyle. That's what that is. And he's going to have to explain to me, hey, dude, didn't tell you what's going on. Saying he's going to have to exist first before he can be anything. Yeah, that is actually a great point. That's a great point. And he doesn't exist, so he can't be anything. So actually he can be everything and anything anybody wants him to be, because he's not real. And that's how not real stuff can be. However you feel like you want it to be. That's exactly how gods are, aren't they? That's right. I just said something that makes sense. Don't ask me to repeat it, because I have no idea what I just said. Here we go. Where are we at here? Which is love, true love, right? What? I don't, which is love. Are you singing another song again? Okay, look, I can't tell when you're singing song. It's printed words. Okay, I kind of need to hear the melody and stuff like that. If you're singing songs, it doesn't, at least put the little music symbol things, and that way I know that you're actually singing a song. Otherwise, I'm just gonna think that you talk really fucking weird. That's what's gonna end up happening here because that's how the interpretation would have to be. But let's see. What? David said, because I agree much of the public atheist vanguard can be cringy. Alex will want to distance from that to remain palatable slash marketable to a wider audience. Yeah, I think you're right about that. And I mean, I don't know what's. I guess it can be cringy at times. I don't know exactly what you're talking about. But I don't think we can be cringier than them, though. I feel like it's once you have their level of cringe, where they're like, closing their eyes and talking about how Trump is David in prophecy, and the Lord told me, and he said, there will be a mighty stirring, and in this stirring, there will be forks that are used at dinner. That's right. That's right. These forks, they will be tri-pronged forks. That's about as cringe as you can get, right? Like, I feel like we're good. We're kind of just like, okay, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter who's cringe and how cringy, because they got us beat. They got us beat by a lot, right? So I think it's cool. I think we're all right. Huh? But I do think you're all right in the sense that Alex is trying to be. I think Alex wants to be like, he wants to be like the next horseman, right? He wants to be the fifth horseman. That's what it is. That's what it is. He's like the reincarnation of Hitchens, right? But no, actually, no, that doesn't work because Hitchens was the opposite of that. He would have been what you would consider cringe, right? Because he just sort of says the shit to your face when you say it. Like, kind of like R and Ra was just like, the Bible gets absolutely wrong about absolutely everything, and stuff like that. Would that be considered cringe? Because he'll say that straight to the fucking the theist's face, and then they get, it turns red. It turns red because they're mad. But I don't know.
See, there's a reason that God commanded us to love our enemies. It's because God loved his enemies enough to die in their place so that they can be adopted as the children of God.
Okay. Got it. So it's, he hates them, but he loves them. So so that he can save them from being hated by him. Okay. It all makes sense. It does. It makes sense if you think about the undead carpenter ghost that lives inside of you having to be tortured, murdered by himself in order to convince himself to save the world from himself. It all makes sense as long as you suspend what making sense means in any way, shape, or form. But Greg said Hitchens was Hitchens was clever, a great orator. Ooh, I like that, with a sharp wit. But I never seen him address anything but straw man and fallacy and fallacious narratives that weren't really applicable to what Christians actually believe. Really? You think that Hitchens was just talking straw man all the time and everything? Okay. I mean, I feel like I need to see examples of that. Like, if you're talking with his book, God is not great, because I don't know. I mean, he seems to just be pointing at a lot of suffering and being religion caused this suffering. That's not a straw man. It's just something that actually happened, and he's just pointing to it and addressing it and saying anyway, I need to know what you're talking about specifically, because it's I swear to God, and no offense to you, it's not just you. I'm just saying so many people will just generalize, and this person always does it. It's when I get criticized on this channel, I'll have people show up in the comment section and they'll be like, all I saw was a bunch of ad hominem fallacies. That's what it was. It was just a bunch of ad hominems the whole time. And then I'm like, okay, what ad hominem fallacy did I do? The whole time, man. It was just that's all you do, bro. That's can you just give me one specific thing that that was an ad hominem? The whole thing, okay, you forget it. There's no point in even trying to talk to you. But I'm not saying you did that, Greg. I'm just saying that I get that so often. So if you have an example off the top of your head that you can remember of Hitchens straw manning, I don't want to hear that. But fuck, dude, did you see his debate with William Lane Craig? Holy shit, dude! Like William Lane Craig like melted because it was absurd, and just saying that like Hitchens, it was like the opposite. Like he was just claiming that Hitchens didn't address what it's like he didn't hear what Hitchens had said and just decided that he didn't say anything that addressed any arguments, even though we all heard him just address all of the arguments. But William Lane Craig thought that he could like Jedi mind trick the fucking audience by being like, he did not make any arguments about morality. He did not prove anything here tonight. He did not do anything to say that. Whatever. But yeah, I don't know. I need some, like I said, some specifics would be great. Let's see. Yeah, thank you. All right, Drusilla's like on top of this shit because I always forget. Liking and subscribing would be great. Thanks. Where are we at here? The Rocks. Where am I? Oh. The Rock said, leave us out of it. It's our day off, and we're just having a relaxing day at the beach. Just hurting people's feet, I'd say, right? Just out there and just, what are you doing at the beach? Okay, you're not supposed to be at the beach. You're gonna hurt somebody's toesies. They're puddings. They're pudding. What do they call it? The tootsies? No. What is the fucking? Anyway, you know what? What do kids call toes again? I keep forgetting.
That's another misconception that a lot of people have. We are not all God's children. We are all God's creation. But if you are not a biblical Christian, then you are not an adopted son or daughter of God. Romans 8 makes that very clear that we are adopted as children of God through faith in Christ exclusively. See, people thinking that God loves everyone unconditionally, that's a problem, because God loves his children unconditionally.
So God hates you. Damn, dude, that's crazy. He's just coming out saying it. He's like, look, God only loves Christians. Hey, I had to say it, okay? Look, God fucking hates you, bro, okay? He just does. Maybe you should be a Christian, and then God won't hate you, all right? And it's like, this totally, like, because, like, how often have you heard, like, well, Jesus loves you, God loves you, or whatever, but, like, he just wants you to choose him or whatever, but he's going to love you regardless. He just wants you to also, like, follow him or whatever, right? And this dude just totally flips the script and is like, no, God fucking hates you. Yeah, he hates you until you become a Christian. Then that's when he loves you. I know it says God is love, but really, what's the difference between love and hate, really? I mean, come on, they're kind of like the same thing, basically, if you think about it, or don't, actually. But Jesus Christ.
If you're not part of his family, if you are not an adopted child of God, you don't get that benefit. See, the Bible says that God will remember your sins no longer, meaning that he's no longer going to keep track of the evil sins that you're committing because he's already forgiven you. He's already
tons of mice. Did not see that one coming. I was like, oh, here comes a joke. And it was Brentley. See, kids around here call their toes Brentleys. And this little Brentley went to the store. Oh my God, I did not see that last word there coming at all. Hey, Anarchic Fox, what's up, dude? Just seen you the other day in the chat. We, did like a hat nod, did like a hat tilt. It's up there. Anarchic Fox. Anarchic Fox did like that. I don't think you could see it or anything. And I didn't write that I did it, but that's just what I do when I'm in a chat. I just hat tip to people. Doesn't really do much because nobody can see me. So it's kind of useless, but I just do it. It just makes me feel better. I don't know. It's kind of weird, I know. Tuned in tight said, oh, I feel so left out now. Why? What? Because you wanted to be called toesies? I mean, you wanted to be what toes were called? Because you're clearly responding to this. And now you feel left out because your name isn't. Tuned in tights just doesn't flow. I mean, it's like, oh, this tuned in tight went to the market, and this just doesn't work. It just doesn't flow off the tongue, But it does flow off the tongue. the products from AdamandEve.com. That's right. Go to AdamandEve.com, enter code word Brantley to get 50% off almost any one item. 6 free movies, 3 free gifts, and free shipping on the whole order. Go to AdamandEve.com, enter that code word Brantley, and you can have stuff slipping on the tongue as much as you want, because that's what it is. It's stuff that goes in your mouth, stuff like that. You know what I mean? It's good. It's that tongue stuff.
Already died in your place, but that's not an excuse to keep sinning. If anything, that should be motivation to repent, because God had to come to earth and die because of the evil things that you do, just so that he can give you a way to escape the fate that you desperately deserve.
God had to come to earth and die. Why? Why did he do that, man? This is his fucking Lego set, man. Why did he decide that he has to become one of the little Lego men and then have his arms and legs like ripped off, and just like dropped into a pile of body parts that are Legos in order to be able to forgive the other Legos? This metaphor is like losing its utility really quickly here. But why did he do that? Why did he do that? If I was a Lego god, I wouldn't do that.
The fate that I desperately deserve. To love the sin or hate the sin, that is something that we need to do. We need to be loving enough to go up to someone and be willing to offend them.
So this whole video doesn't mean anything. So it's like, anyway, so God's allowed to hate everybody, but like we can't though. Okay, so just so you know, that's just God. God's allowed to hate everybody, but like we can't.
We need to be willing to go up to someone and say, hey, what you're doing is evil, sinful, and wrong, and God hates it. God is going to punish you for that unless you turn to him and repent, unless you trust in him exclusively and repent. See, God made him who knew no sin to be sin for us, that we might become the righteousness of God in him. Hey. That means literally that.
Hey, Bree, what's up? It's good to see you. Good to see you. Hell yeah. It's been a long time. How you doing? Are you still stewing in your soup? You're doing some soup stewing? That's hashtag soup stewing. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what we call the jacuzzi. Right? A jacuzzi is actually a brand. It's actually called a hot tub. Yeah, hot tub. Hot tub's the thing, and then jacuzzi's just the most popular brand, like Xerox. I don't know if you need that, but yeah, it's kind of like all fingers and thumbs, or kind of like all thumbs are fingers, but not all fingers are thumbs. Yeah, it's like that. But anyway, Pandora's Pinata say, what's up? So I just don't think too long about why a little piggy would go to the market. I know, right? Unless they're there to donate their body to the chop shop in the back. Well, you know what I mean? It's not a chop shop. It's like, they do chopping at that shop, but it's not the same. You know what? Never mind. Forget it. I'm just not using the right words to address things today. It's like my brain's all over the place. Anyway, I'd say we suck so much. No, we don't, man. Like, what do you? Maybe you do, man. But I don't put the we on there. Okay, the rest of us around here might not agree with you that we suck. So, anyway, so we suck so much. He had no choice but to make his whole plan. Oh, this is sarcasm. I'm sorry. Make his whole plan even dumber. And in the sense that it was his plan anyway, it worked great. Yeah, it's crazy how that works. He's like, I had a plan that people would, show up and sin and everything, and then I blame him for the thing that I had the plan for since the beginning, even though I'm going to blame them for what I planned for them to do because I made them in order to do that thing. Yeah, it's ridiculous. Anytime you try to look at this, the monotheismness of the God claims in Christianity kind of fuck up a lot whenever it comes to like the problem of evil and stuff like that. Because he it's just the one God in control of everything. So if there were multiple gods, that problem would be solved like that, but it's not. So anyway, Bree said, not in the soup yet. Oh, okay. Well, it's good. You're working up to it. Okay, I get it. Yeah, tell everybody I said hey. We had fun last night. Bree was there too. Bree was one of the folks that was there hanging out, playing trivia games. It's cool. Or I guess it wasn't trivia games. It was like a Jack in the Box game. I don't know what the name of the game place is, but we did some like online improv type games. It was fun. It was a great time. Tons of my said, did he make this video because he just ran over someone with his car and is waiting for the police to arrive? That would, that dude, now I'm stuck picturing that every single time that somebody makes a video inside their car. I'm just gonna be like, well, okay, well, I gotta be sitting here for a bit now that I just, ran over that pedestrian. He was walking too slow through the street anyway, and I thought I needed to teach him a lesson. Like, don't cross the street that slow. Okay, you see me coming. I know you can see me because you see me when I see you seeing me when I'm coming. And so then you're gonna slow down. No, getting hit. That's what's happening there, bro. Okay, I don't know what you think you're doing, but you don't. And you like pedestrians always have the right of way. Can kiss my fucking ass. You know what I mean? Fuck that. You deserve it. And then they just sit there. I'm gonna make a video. And they put up the video, and then you'll just see the flashing lights in the background, and then cops just sitting there tapping on the window, and he's just putting up his hand. Like, I'm trying to explain the problem of evil and why God hates people. Just give me a second. Anyway, Jesus, that's so funny. I'm literally going to think of that every single time now. So thank you for that.
Became our sin and died.
Yeah, you said that like 17 times. It never makes more sense, dude. It never makes more sense.
Took on our sin, our burden he bore, and he died in our
Isaiah 53.
place. He was pierced for our
Wait, how is that in Isaiah? There's nothing in Isaiah that says that. Okay.
He was punished for our transgressions. Jesus lived a perfect, sin-free life that only God in the flesh could do. He did not earn the wages of sin, but he took.
It's weird because, like, he even says, if you like look at the New Testament, like the one point, like he's saying that he not only was good, but he was perfect. Even though there's like the one point that somebody calls Jesus good, and he's like, "Why do you call me good? I'm not good. Only God is good." But yeah, sure, Jesus is perfect. When did that get added to the canon? When did the Jesus had to be absolutely perfect thing get added to the canon? And by extension, Mary had to be perfect too. If you heard that one, because something that is imperfect can't create something that is perfect, which means that Mary had to be perfect, and that meant that Mary's mom had to be perfect, and that meant that Mary's mom had to be perfect, and so on and so forth, ad nauseum.
Took our wages. He took our debt, our punishment, and he died for us. Even while we hated him, he died for his enemies. That's you and I. That way we might be adopted.
What's the problem with evil, dude? Like, what even is that problem? There is no problem here, all right? Evil's awesome, bro. Okay, there's nothing problem about that. Ken said, "What? Brentleys aren't children's toys?" I'm not saying they're not. Okay, maybe they are. Right? Maybe that's why I was named that. Because babies, I feel like kind of look like toast probably a lot of time. When if they like scrunched up enough, and they're kind of like they get wrapped in that swaddly thing. It kind of just looks like a toe with a band-aid or a bandage on it or whatever. And so like this, let's name him Brentley. Yeah, because he kind of looks like a toe, doesn't he? It's like this little Brentley was born, right? And then this little Brentley over here went to the market. Yeah, no, that works. I feel like that's probably right. That's how it went. Tons of my son, people like to get their Brentley sucked. Well, that just sounds a lot more sexual there. And if you want to get your Brentley sucked, just go to adamandeve.com, enter that code word Brentley. That's right. I know it's crazy. And get put in your anyway. It's too many ads here. Okay, I'm not. What am I fucking Ben Shapiro? Get the fuck out of here. No, we're moving on.
Sons and daughters of God. That through faith in Christ we might receive that adoption into God's family. The Bible uses the term adoption.
God, this kid, like, he loves just like acting like he is the pastor. He's like, I am so gonna pastor one day. Like, this is my this is my portfolio for the church that I create one day. You'll see. Okay. And when they're like, who should be the pastor of this church? He's like, well, have you seen my portfolio? I'm pretty awesome at it. I can provide you some headshots and a literal portfolio too if you want. But the links, the hyperlinks on there are just, it's all to my videos where I basically talk to you exactly like any pastor would.
Very, very specifically and very clearly. There is no such thing as a natural born son or daughter of God. We are adopted through faith in Christ. Whenever we put our trust, our faith in Jesus Christ exclusively, that by his grace we are saved through faith, and it's not of ourselves, it is the gift of God, not based on works, lest any man should boast. It is exclusively.
Yeah, that's like the main verse that we all would love to say all the time. It's not through my works, lest any man should boast. Okay. And that's where you get like a lot of people. Oh, you think it's works-based religion? Like Jehovah's Witnesses are wrong because it's a works-based religion. And then like anytime that anybody talks about how you should see fruit, if somebody is actually a Christian, and then they'll get in a fight about that. Well, if you're looking for fruit, then that means you think it's a works-based salvation anyway. And it's a conversation that I had way too many times when I was a Christian.
What Jesus did, and if we trust fully and only in him, then he credits
all right, man. It's good seeing you, dude.
Righteousness. If we
Thanks for hanging.
him, then we will be credited as righteous. If we trust him, that's what believe means. It doesn't mean that you believe he exists. Everyone knows in their hearts that God exists. Everyone knows, even the atheist, the agnostic, we all know the reality that God exists. But
no, but I it's funny that you have to think that in order to feel better about yourself there.
We suppress the truth in unrighteousness. We hate God naturally. We are the enemies of God.
We naturally hate God. And that's why naturally there's only 6% of the planet that is atheist or whatever, because we naturally hate God or whatever.
Naturally.
Jesus.
We are born with a sinful inclination that takes us away from God. And so whenever we're in that position of enmity towards God, we naturally hate him and we suppress that truth. We try to pretend that he doesn't exist. And it's not like I'm saying like that, oh, you know he exists, but you're just pretending he doesn't. It's a subliminal thing.
Oh, okay. Oh, that fixes it then. So you don't know that you do believe in something and are pushing it down. Jeez, it's like, I'm not saying that you actually do believe in God and are just suppressing it. I'm saying you do all that without even realizing it. So, these atheists, they're actually being honest when they say they don't believe in God. They just don't know that they don't know that they don't know that they do actually believe in God. So it gets in the inception levels of just meta knowing and not knowing for that matter. It's crazy.
In your mind, you know God exists. That's why you have
in your mind as opposed to in your butt.
Need for justice in this world. That's why you see evil. And even though if you're an atheist and you have that atheistic perspective, you have to borrow from the Christian worldview in order to claim that anything is right.
No, we don't. I mean, I could just say that Christians have to borrow from because it doesn't even make sense, because like my interpretation of morality has everything to do with well-being and like harm reduction, and Christianity has nothing to do with harm reduction. In fact, it seems to make a lot of excuses for harming people, as long as you're harming the people that you don't like or think that shouldn't have rights because they're not living in accordance to the Christian doctrine or whatever the fuck, right? It's absurd.
Unless you are actually a consistent atheist, then you'll say that there is no such thing as good, there is no such thing as bad, there is nothing but blind and pitiless indifference. That is a quote from Richard Dawkins. However,
what? No, he's saying the universe is believes that the universe is completely indifferent to whether or not we exist at all. Our planet could just completely disappear in like a heat death or a big crunch or whatever, and the universe would not care. It would not be good or bad, according to the universe at all. I think that was the point that he was making. He's not saying that atheists are all just like nothing's good or bad at all. There's no such thing as things being good or bad. No, things are both good and bad. It's just based off of our subjective interpretations off of what we think right and wrong is. And yeah, that tends to overlap a lot. It's just like, and to the point where people would say that certain moral actions are objectively immoral, even though it wouldn't actually be objective, because it has to be outside of all opinion for it to be objective. Otherwise, I don't know why we would use the word objective. But anyway, that's...
However, if someone went and they did something horribly abusive to a member of Richard
Up
Dawkins'
is,
family, he would happily adopt.
up is down. Wait, what you said? Up is bad, down is good. There we go. You nailed it. That's just, I guess we can just make stuff up, right? It just doesn't. Apart from the Hittite worldview. Oh, okay. Like, and that's what his like. And actually, the Christian worldview, yeah, because I was gonna say, like, what didn't he borrow from the, like, so Christians borrowed from the Judeo moral value system, right? And then the Judeo moral value system borrowed from the Hittite, is that it? Was that before Judaism? I don't know. Or the Canaanite, wasn't it the Canaanite? It was like a Canaanite, a version of Canaanite beliefs. Anyway, I don't know stuff. I hear things, and then I try to remember them, and then I remember that I can't remember them, and so then I stop trying. But I'm like, I know something about this at some point, maybe. But Kent said, the recipient might be the one to feel the harm, but it's objectively bad as long as we base our standards on a common agreement. If we agree it's bad, then it's bad. Yeah, I mean, well, look, it can be objective if you put it like in, you have to purposefully tie, like I always say, like tie a bow on it, right? You got to make it into like a closed system. If you make the goal human flourishing, right? Or just well-being, or like I said, do no harm reduction, like that. You have to have that as the basis. Then you can objectively determine if something gets you closer or further away from that goal. A lot of times people use the rules of chess as an example because we know what the goal of chess is. We can see if something is objectively a good move versus an objectively bad move. Because we have a goal that we can see them moving towards or further away from. And so as long as we have that goal, but the goal is still something that is subjectively agreed upon by the individual, which means that it's still not truly objective. But it's kind of overcomplicating things a bit, but I always just take it back because as far as I can tell, if what morality is in the first place is evaluating whether or not a human behavior is good or bad, it's impossible to evaluate human behavior to decide if it is good or bad and it be outside of all opinion. That's just not possible. You know what I mean? But like you said, if we can make it objective, if we kind of put it within that closed system and tie the bow on it, as it were, if you will, per se. But it's a whole thing, it's a whole big moral philosophy and ethics thing. And it's, it gets crazy. What's up, dude? Hey, Michael made it. What's up, man? Wow. My nap took too long. It did. Yeah. Took way too long because we're almost done here. Okay. But you're coming in right at the end, but that's all right. At least you made it though. That's the important part. Okay. That's all anybody really wants in life, is to just show up at the last second. Let's see. Kent said, money currency isn't tied to our biology and physiology. It's still a concept that doesn't exist outside our human minds. Money currency is to our biology and physiology. I'm not really sure I'm understanding what you're saying here. Maybe pull at that thread a little bit, right? Because I'm kind of curious as to what it is you're saying here. But hey, Blood Badger, what's up, dude? You made it. All right. Michael, what did you bring? You bring Blood Badger with you? You like called him, hey, Blood Badger, there's a stream going on. Come over here. And then both you guys showed up together. Like, we can go together. I got an extra. I have a +1. And so we can show up together if you want, right? It's kind of cool. Kind of that we won't be alone when we go there, right? There's always that like awkward time when you first get there and you get your solo cup, and then you're like, you might as well just go play some beer pong because at least you can, play a game to kind of feel better, and you can drink while you're playing the game, and then it's not as awkward anymore, right? Because you've played that game and you kind of like you're feeling a bit more comfortable. Then you can have fun. But that first couple of minutes, that is that is awkward. It's awkward. But anyway, say it like that. Oh yeah. Let's see. All right, Joe. Well, thank you all so much for hanging out. This was a fun one. as you can see, I'm doing these a bit more frequently on Saturday. So I don't know. It's totally random, but that's how it goes. If you want to hit that like button, I'd really appreciate it. So it's a little button. It looks like a thumb. I think I even have it depicted here. Yep, there it is. Like that, like the thumb thing. And yeah, if you want to do that, that'd be great. And if you want to support us, you can support us by supporting our sponsor, adamandeve.com, and entering that code word Brentley at checkout. Or you can do other shit, right? You can become a patron. And like I said, like on Patreon, we have like some extra conversations that I have with other content creators and stuff. And it's like the full conversation, to whereas I usually only put a clip up on our on this channel, right? So we got one with SR, I got one with Ian Harris, I got a bunch of stuff, right? And you anyway, but like, yeah, become a patron. But if you want to just do a one-time payment on Cash App, I'd really appreciate it. Anything you can do right now helps. This is always a kind of a tough time. And so yeah, anything you can do would be awesome. And my cash tag is Punk Apostate, all one word, right? But if you want to become a member, you get an extra live stream every week for members only, and then you also get like priority when it comes to the chat and stuff. And I do my absolute best. I feel like I nail it, but for the most part anyway. But yeah, so you get priority when it comes to the chat and stuff like that. Of course, super chats are the top priority, and then from then it's the members, and then if you're new, and so on and so forth. But yeah, and if you get anything wrong, hit me up, email me. I want to hear from you. I want to know if I did anything wrong, or got anything wrong. If you want to send me some of those straw mans that Hitchens did, that'd be cool, man. You can send them to me at punkapostate@gmail.com. And yeah, we can kind of have like our own little correspondence, and it makes it a little bit easier to communicate, so that we're not out in front of everybody or whatever. If you want to just say something to me privately without everybody seeing it, email. That's the best way to do that, right? But if you want to hang out in the Discord, you can join our Discord, and I'm going to put the links below. And then you can also follow me on all the socials and shit, right? And so I got that below, and I'm updating my list of other channels. So if you got any suggestions on there, email them to me, and I'll pop them in the list. All right. But hey, the main thing though is to stay logical, loving, skeptical, and compassionate. And we will see you next time. No, Mom, I can't.